The word get is a verb. The dictionary defines it as receiving or having possession, use, or enjoyment of, coming to a specified place, arriving, reaching, and lastly, to succeed, to become enabled, or to be permitted. So with all that said, did you get it? Good. Welcome to Get the Podcast.
You better get it while the getting's good. It won't be long until I'm gone in all likelihood. Misinformed is an excuse, be the engine that could. I know my roots, I know my rights, and still misunderstood. I'm getting to it.
Hey, what's up, people? It's your friendly neighborhood Negro, JC. And Get the Pod is a micro pod where I give my 2 cents, a couple quarters, and a few dollars on some hot button issues in not only the Black community, but the overall global community. All of the episodes will be under 20 minutes with the goal of, hopefully, getting you to the point of fruitful and meaningful conversations with those in your immediate friend groups and circles. So, you got it now?
Yep.
You get it yet?
Think so.
Good. Let's go. Yo, what's up? So this episode, my neighbors in the neighborhood, we talking about polyamory. And we're talking about polyamory because I am a polyamorous individual who is currently in a committed relationship, actually, which is interesting, with an individual that is not necessarily polyamorous. And so some of y'all might think, how the fuck is this working? And it's simple, one day at a time. I practice E&M, which is ethical non-monogamy, which means that if I were to meet anyone at all, I am completely upfront about my wants, my desires, and how I see myself inside of relationship dynamics, honestly and openly, right? So the person that I'm talking with right now, the person that I'm dating, the person that I'm with, we had a discussion within the first 48 hours of seriously spending time around each other about how, what, where I see myself, right? In relationship dynamics. And originally, he was vehemently opposed to that, but now he's less vehemently opposed. He's still opposed, but it's not like, fuck that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because it's kind of one of those things where I, me, the person, am telling you up front what I, me, the person expects, you know? And it's one of those things where you kind of have to realize, okay, if I love this person, if I like this person, it's something that I'm going to have to deal with eventually. It might not be tomorrow. It might be today. It might not be 5 years from now, you know, but who knows how you would feel 5 years from now. But it's just something to take into account. But I think when people hear polyamory, like there's so many ways to do interpersonal relationships and romantic relationships and platonic relationships. There's so many ways to do relationships in general that are quote unquote unconventional, you know, that it's ridiculous. Like just because I'm a polyamorous person, does that mean that I am going to go out tomorrow and find another nigga to bring home and be like, hey, this is bae. Hey, bae number one, be bae number two. Doesn't work like that. Because also I would never say bae. I'm just doing that for, you know, this podcast. But I hate that word. What is a body of water? You went swimming with bae. So you went swimming in a body of water with a body of water. That's what you do anyway. So the person that I'm currently with, I have enough love and respect to take into account their feelings around the subject, right? Because when we originally started talking, it was a hell fuck no. And now it's just a hell no, but maybe a maybe. You understand what I'm saying? So we've made a little bit of progress. And for all intents and purposes, when we started talking, I was children, marriage, the fuck. And now, conversely, I'm kind of like, well, maybe later, but not now. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's essentially what relationships are, is compromise, learning, growing, all of that shit. But like for this specific instance, me being the person that wants multiple partners in a relationship sense, it's easy for him to accept because he, while not necessarily wanting the emotional portion of other partners, he would like the physical portion of being with other people, right? So he's more interested in the sexual aspect and the communal aspect of sex with me and someone else, and Lord, pause. He's more interested in the communal aspect of sex with his partner and someone else, right? Than the emotional aspect of sharing his partner with someone else. And I think that's an important distinction to be made because, you know, one could think that we are in an open relationship, but that is not the case. I will be damned if I am anywhere within 25 miles of you and you decide to fuck somebody else without me being present. Like, that's not how this works. And vice versa. Like, negative. So that's why our relationship isn't open per se. You know what I'm saying? It's still a closed relationship. You know, you get hall passes and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Considering the fact that we don't live in the same place, I don't, you know, and then sexually speaking, you know, I may not be into some things sexually as much as he would like. So I could understand being like, okay, well, since I ain't doing it, I mean, shit, you got needs, just shoot me a video whenever you do what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm open to that and I'm logical in that sense, right? I'm very fair in that way. But like the emotional aspect, I do understand what my partner is saying. I do get what he's saying. Like, you know, the type of person, the type of man that I would need to be for him emotionally, I'm not there yet. Right. And I probably won't be there for a while because that is the type of trust in me that he would have to have in me, right, to even begin to entertain the thought of someone else in our relationship dynamic. Right. And I applaud him for even being honest enough with himself to, well, he's never formally admitted that to me, but we've had conversations and I've said what I've said and he's not denied it. So if you know my person like I know my person, that's an agreement. Because if it wasn't an agreement, that motherfucker would say so. But yeah, just the aspect of that, being someone's Rock of Gibraltar, for all intents and purposes, to get metaphorical and allegorical, to, you know, be that person's refuge, you know, that will require a level of relationship and growth that we are currently on the way to, but we're not there yet, right? And so I say that to say polyamory is a very interesting thing, considering the fact that I am openly polyamorous and he isn't. So, but it's not to say that not all forms of polyamory are created equal. You know, my magic number is 3 for a couple. Some people have 4, 5, or 6. Some couples have boyfriends or girlfriends, right? Some couples will couple and have a significant other to themselves while still being in a relationship with themselves. That's a lot for me. I'm not gonna say I wouldn't do it, but I physically right now, I can't think about it. But there are so many ways to do this thing that it doesn't really, you can't take the book for the cover. You really have to delve deep into the chapters, right? Excuse me. In my mind, where I stand right now, if there were to be a third in this relationship, I would probably pick them out, but he would stamp them, right? He would be the person that would be like, yeah, I like this person. You understand what I'm saying? Because just me picking someone that I like and bringing them to the relationship dynamic isn't going to work. Like, you have to want this person. As a matter of fact, you have to want this person more than me, because in your mind, at least at that time, until you learn to grow with that individual and with me, in your mind, you're losing something, right? You're not gaining something. I see it as a net positive. You see it as a net negative, right? So in your mind, you're losing the thing that you've grown to love and hold close and dear. You're having to share that time. So something's being taken away from you. So if that's the case, and I am aware of how you view this thing, I'm going to give you way more power, leeway, and say so in our dynamic, because that is me getting what I want by giving you what you want, right? There's a certain level of power that I have to yield in this dynamic for this dynamic to work. And I think that's important for polyamorous people and non-polyamorous people, or especially a non-polyamorous person dating a polyamorous person. Like, there's a certain level of power, trust that you have to be willing to trust and give up at the same time. You have to be willing to take it and give it at the same time. And for me personally, like I said, if I know that my person, the person I'm talking to right now, is not necessarily completely on board with polyamory, but isn't completely against it, what that means is, number one, I still have the acceptance of my partner to find someone else. But it also means that if I intend to keep this person in my life, that they have to be made to feel a certain way. And it's my duty and my responsibility to make sure that that person is given enough to where that they do not feel like anything is missing. And that's the complex thing about it all, right? Because in a situation where it's just one person, I wouldn't have to worry about that. I just have to worry about keeping that one person happy. I'm talking about taking on multiple motherfuckers. So it's like, oh, okay, now you got to do this and do that. And you know what I'm saying? Me, myself, personally, I accept the challenge. Like, I've never viewed myself in a monogamous situation, whether I had the language to describe the situation or not. I've never viewed myself in that way. So I've always taken on the mantle and the burden of being X, Y, and Z. Maybe this is why I'm so extra to start with right now. Maybe this is why I'm so much, is because I've always known that I was going to have to give a lot to get what I need. You understand what I'm saying? And I just think that in non-conventional relationship dynamics, hell, even in conventional relationship dynamics, you have to be like understanding of yourself first and then of your partner, right? And then your partner has to be understanding of themselves and you. And if you understand yourself first, you understand that you can deal with this or you can't deal with this. Because I'm guaranteeing you, if me in totality, my personality, my personage, my relationship ideals, goals, my business goals, if all of these things weren't acceptable to the person that I'm talking to, he wouldn't be talking to me right now, right? You know what I'm saying? But there has to be a level of confidence and self-acceptance and belief in self that you have to be able to give to multiple people. Because I wouldn't suggest even thinking about polyamory. I wouldn't suggest being in a relationship with multiple people if you can't even hold down a relationship with one. That's just me personally, because that's stupid. That means that you don't have what you need in you to be the best version of you to give to somebody else. And then if you ain't got that nigga, you need to work on that. And I'm not saying that I have that right now, completely. I'm not saying that I'd be able to talk to my person that I'm currently talking to and talk to someone else, right? I'm not saying I don't think I could do that right now, because where I'm at with this person is on a level that I ain't never reached before. You know what I'm saying? So I'm on 11-15. I ain't even explored the board yet. What I look like going to level 17. Like, nah, bro, like we here. Like, and that's one of the things that I've had to reassure him, is that just because I tell you these things and just because I say that I want someone else in our dynamic does not mean that it's going to happen tomorrow. Does not mean it's going to happen next week or next year. Like, you are enough. I never want you to feel like you aren't enough. I recognize in this that it's not me saying to my partners that they aren't enough, because they are, right? I'm just saying that I would like it all. I don't want to have to choose. I don't want to do this thing where I meet, this incredible person who's everything that I want, and then meet a subsequent person who is even more than what I dreamed and be like, oh, yeah, I have to choose. No, that's not fair. Like, that's not fair to me. That's just me being selfish. But again, that is me and my dynamic. And that is why E&M, ethical non-monogamy, is a thing. Because if the person knows how you are, right? I'm a lot, I'm intense, I'm much. So I need multiple people to be able to handle that. Like, I already know that. You understand what I'm saying? But it's developing my interpersonal skills and developing the things that I want to do that will make this work. and developing me as a person is going to make my relationships better, right? Because at the end of this, at the linchpin of all of this, if I get what I want, which I probably will, both of these people are going to be in my life and they're going to be in their lives and we're going to be in our lives because I've essentially set forth the motion to do so. So if I'm doing this, I recognize that I have to be the best version of myself for two people at a time. And that's a daunting task to think about if you're not ready for it. So I caution people without learn relationship types, learn the names of relationships, learn what works and what doesn't for you, and then go forward with that. And don't be scared to explore non-conventional things because just because this has worked for 1 and 2 doesn't mean it works for 3. Just because I'm polyamorous doesn't mean that that is something that you would be into. You might be into monogamous relationships, right? Or you might be into open relationships, or you might be there are so many different ways to coexist with people and to be with people that just one way is not sufficient. No two things are the same. No two relationships are the same. And I have to caution everybody against that. So just do you, find you, and then find a person that enjoys doing you and being with you. That's amazing. I'm ending on that note about peace. Get the podcast is a production from the OVT Network with original artwork by Kenzo Sturdivant and original music by Sincerely Blip. The podcast is hosted and edited by me, your friendly neighborhood Negro, JC. If you found value in anything I've said here today, please subscribe, like, share, and comment on YouTube or Instagram at the OVT Network. You can also connect with me, JC, on IG at JC from the OVT. Got to keep it simple, right? Don't forget to rate us 5 stars and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever your podcasts are casted. And lastly, did you know that if you share this podcast with just one person, we would double in size the community? So, with that being said, get to sharing, goddammit. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate you listening. Peace.